Picture this, a young man working a dead-end desk job at a patent office, reviewing other people's inventions, going largely unnoticed by the scientific world. In his spare time, he scribbles equations in a notebook. Then, in a single miraculous year, he publishes 4 papers that completely shatter humanity's understanding of space, time, energy, and light. That man was Albert Einstein. And the world has never been the same. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879, in Ulm, in the Kingdom of Württemberg, present-day Germany. He came from a Jewish middle-class family. His father Hermann ran a small electrical engineering company, and his mother Pauline was an accomplished pianist who made sure young Albert learned the violin. That love of music would stay with him for life. Here's the irony that every teacher should know: Einstein was not considered a prodigy in school. He was quiet, stubborn, and deeply skeptical of rote learning. One of his teachers reportedly told his father he would never amount to anything. He even failed the entrance exam to the Swiss Federal Polytechnic in Zurich, on his first try, at least. But while school bored him, ideas consumed him. At age 16, he imagined what it would look like to ride alongside a beam of light. That thought experiment, that single daydream, would eventually lead to the special theory of relativity. The kid who couldn't sit still in class was quietly reimagining the universe. In 1905, a year Einstein himself called his miracle year, he published 4 groundbreaking papers while working as a low-level patent clerk in Bern, Switzerland. Each one alone would have made most physicists' careers. Together, they were seismic. He explained the photoelectric effect, laying the foundation for quantum mechanics. He proved the existence of atoms through Brownian motion. He introduced the special theory of relativity, showing that time and space are not fixed, they bend and stretch depending on speed. And then there was that equation, E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. 5 characters that unlock the relationship between matter and energy, and, decades later, gave humanity both nuclear power and the atomic bomb. In 1915, he went even further with the general theory of relativity, redefining gravity not as a force but as a curvature in space-time caused by mass. It was so radical that most physicists didn't believe it, until a 1919 solar eclipse provided the experimental proof that starlight bends around the sun, exactly as Einstein had predicted. Overnight, he became the most famous scientist in the world. He won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921. His face appeared on magazine covers. He received fan mail from around the globe. The patent clerk had become a legend. Einstein's theories didn't just reshape physics, they reshaped reality as we understand it. Without relativity, GPS systems wouldn't work. Satellites have to account for the fact that time passes slightly faster in orbit than on Earth, a correction that comes straight out of Einstein's equations. Every time you use Google Maps, Einstein is quietly in the background. His work on the photoelectric effect seeded quantum mechanics, which gave us transistors, semiconductors, lasers, and ultimately the entire digital revolution. The computer you're watching this on? Traces back, in part, to Einstein. The equation E equals mc squared enabled nuclear energy, both the horror of atomic weapons and the promise of clean nuclear power. Einstein himself was a pacifist who deeply regretted the role his work played in the Manhattan Project, having signed a letter urging President Roosevelt to develop the bomb before Nazi Germany could. It was one of the great moral burdens of his life. Beyond science, Einstein was a fierce advocate for civil rights, a vocal opponent of racism and anti-Semitism, and a committed pacifist. When the Nazis rose to power in Germany, he was in the United States and refused to return, eventually settling at Princeton. He was offered the presidency of Israel in 1952 and graciously declined, saying he lacked the natural aptitude for dealing with people. Albert Einstein died on April 18, 1955, in Princeton, New Jersey, at age 76, from an abdominal aortic aneurysm. He refused surgery, saying he had done his part and it was time to go. True to form, right to the end. In a strange postscript, the pathologist who performed his autopsy quietly removed Einstein's brain without permission, and kept it in a jar for decades, hoping to unlock the secret of his genius. The brain was eventually studied and returned to Princeton. Researchers found subtle structural differences, but nothing that explained the extraordinary mind it once powered. His legacy is everywhere. His name is synonymous with genius. His face, wild hair, kind eyes, that famous tongue-out photograph, is one of the most recognized images in human history. His theories continue to be confirmed by new experiments, including the 2015 detection of gravitational waves, which Einstein had predicted a century earlier but doubted anyone would ever actually measure. Einstein once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." And he proved it, by imagining things no one else dared to, and then doing the math to show the universe had been doing them all along. The patent clerk from Ulm didn't just advance science. He changed the way humanity sees itself in the cosmos. And that's a pretty good run for one lifetime. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Who do you want to see next?